for Motohop on Air.
Welcome to episode 22.
22, woohoo!
We're recording this on June 23rd, a little before 11 p.m., right on time.
It's Sunday, and I'm tired.
It is also our anniversary of when we started dating.
High five.
Yeah. Who else is sitting on their anniversary recording podcasts?
Oh, I'm just so lucky.
Yeah.
It's so romantic.
Do you want me to move your microphone closer to you? You're like 3 feet.
Do you need me to get closer to it? Is that what you're saying?
You're like leaning as far away as you possibly can.
I was afraid of mouth noises.
Well, yeah.
See, that's the romance.
That is the romance. So, I guess, other than the fact that we're now 2 weeks in a row-ish, so we're back on track.
Wasn't our goal 8 episodes though? So ultimately, we've beat the odds multiple times.
Yes, so it was, if you did, most of them failed or stopped doing it after 7.
We've done that multiple times now.
But then I saw another one where I think they said it was 21 episodes.
Oh, well.
So we're also past that now. We just have to get back to...
And the fact we stopped and actually came back is a huge testament to our commitment.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to think so.
Life happens. It's okay.
Yeah, life does happen.
So what's in your cup?
Boring. Bottle of water to rehydrate from the heat this week.
You have a whole bottle of water in your cup?
No, I have a bottle of water here.
Oh, well.
I also have a boring bourbon and Coke. Four Roses bourbon and Coke from Coca-Cola.
Did you leave your sense of humor upstairs?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. Would you like to ask me what's in my cup?
Yeah, what is in your cup?
It is a grapefruit fever tree, which is, I think, supposed to be an alcoholic mixer, but there is no alcohol because I'm tired and I'm driving to Cincinnati tomorrow for a work trip, and I need to bounce back.
Yeah. You also have a dish of cashews. Is it just straight cashews or is it mixed nuts?
I think there's an awkward amount of mixed nuts. I think it's a custom-made mix from that we had gotten from Christmas.
Yeah, 95% cashews.
Yeah, but I'm not going to... I was craving something salty before we get on, but the mouth noises were so gross, so I will be staring at them.
And lean away.
Squirrel them away at my cheeks.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, boy.
So, since last podcast, there have been some developments.
It was 8 days ago, because today is Sunday. It was last Saturday. We spoke, and we had plans to... I don't know if we had plans yet. We were in the midst of making plans to go see a camper prospect, correct?
Yeah. I don't remember if we already had plans or if we were just pretty sure we were going to go Wednesday and look at it.
So we did. Then what happened?
We came back with it.
First, before we went there, we went to the bank, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Or tried to.
Shame on me.
Shame on both of us.
For not realizing that Wednesday was Juneteenth.
We need to check ourselves and our DEI holiday. Well, not even DEI holidays, just holidays in general, because I do social media for my full-time job, and I had made social posts, but I make them so far in advance for all of the holidays. I'm completely disconnected by the time they get here, and I think if it would have been a Monday holiday, which is a horrible thing to say, I might have remembered. Also, I work from home in a very secure bubble and do not connect with the real world in real time at all, apparently, because had I watched the news, I would have done something. I know our city events actually got canceled, so I could lean into that, but...
Yeah, so earlier in the day, I had realized it.
And then you forgot.
But it did not fully click until we arrived at the bank to withdraw money to take with us, and the door was locked.
And I just assumed that there was so much construction in our town that they just busted a water line or something, and everyone had to go home. The idea of a holiday on a Wednesday in the middle of summer never occurred to me.
Yep.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
We pulled strings, made magic happen, though, and that's all that matters.
Yep. So we talked about it a little bit last episode.
Yeah,
And then
so-
stopped short to make sure no one like swooped in and grabbed it out from
There was-
underneath us. In case it was the winner.
Swoopers, no swooping.
Yeah.
So we drove almost to Wheeling, West Virginia. It was about a 2-hour drive through some crazy hills of Ohio that I did not know existed.
You should
Horrifying.
go out on the motorcycle with me more
I'd
often.
rather not. Not on those. No, thank you. That was unnecessary. Although I'm sure if you're on a bike, the lanes seem wider. Being in the X5s, the lanes did not seem wide enough.
For reference, for people who may be from Ohio or Western Pennsylvania, we were referring to we went 77 south from Akron and picked up 250, and I think ran 250 all the way to 9, and then that took us most of the way into, what was the town actually called? Was it Bellevue?
Bel Air, I think.
Bel Air. Yeah, Bel Air. That's what it was.
No Fresh Prince there, unfortunately. Well, if he was, we did not see him because these were some deep hills.
Yeah, we were. Well, at first, you seemed to really enjoy it.
Oh, it was
on
really
250
pretty.
when we started.
It was
going
pretty
around.
when there
What
was a shoulder on the road.
Was it Tappan Lake?
Yeah, I mean that was a gorgeous,
And you're like,
huge,
this is amazing.
long camping lake that I was like, we live in amidst 7 lakes, I believe, and they are all very residential, very small, very shallow, somewhat smelly at times.
You'll have that.
Main thing though, regardless of all of those things, is residential. So like, you get on a boat, go on the water, you just look at these houses you can't afford.
Yep.
This Tappan Lake was huge, and there was no houses, and it was hilly.
Well,
so we don't have
that's not
hills
true.
either.
There were some houses.
It was true, but I think the hills obstructed some of that, so it was a bit of a wildlife facade. But either way, it was huge. It was really cool driving through it. It was beautiful. It was sunny, and then the roads got narrow and the lines disappeared, and I thought we were going to die.
And there was a lot of inclines and declines
And we're driving through these mountainous
truck hill warnings.
ranges, driving into off-roads on off-roads. Like, literally, we were on a gravel road, and you're going back here with a load of cash and thinking, if we died, no one would know. Well, and there was no cell service most of the time. Like, it was
for good portions
pretty
of it,
much
yeah.
like the plot of the majority of, like, horror movies or, what would you call them? Like, psychotic thrillers that I've read, like psychological thrillers.
True crime podcasts.
Oh, absolutely. This is where you go that no one knows you're missing. And we're like, let's take a brick of cash and see what happens. With zero cell service. Like,
what
absolutely
is the worst
zero.
that could have happened?
I'd rather not go there. Because I'm trying to go to bed and sleep all tonight. But trust me, I had those thoughts that, like, every time we took a turn, I was like, how can we get even further away from civilization?
It wasn't that bad. Because what was funny was
It was
where
bad.
we ended up, I don't think, because I kind of knew how close we were going to be to, as you put it, civilization. But until we left and went to the gas station, we were, what?
She told me the nearest hospital was about 20 minutes, so that kind of grounded me a little bit, thinking that we weren't that far away.
Yeah, but like,
It was probably
you literally
like-
went out 400, 500
It was like
yards to the
4
left,
miles,
and it was
5
like,
miles to the gas station and grocery store and stuff. So
No,
you think it was
I don't
less
think
than
it
that?
was that far.
Okay. Well, less
I
than.
mean, but let's say it
less
is.
than.
We're that far from Giant Eagle.
Yeah.
Actually, probably a little
No.
further than that.
I think, okay. Either way, it wasn't that far.
Yeah.
We stopped, regrouped, got snacks, and you learned that there's no air conditioning in this truck, and it was 90 degrees.
But first,
Okay.
so the reason we went the direction we did was my thought process was, I don't know how I want to structure this. So you need to know a little bit about the vehicle.
Well, I guess lay it on them. Tell
Yeah.
them about the vehicle.
So
we
it-
could tell
it
them
is-
about the process, and then we can.
Yeah. So it is a 1986 GMC, depending on where you're looking, either a C60, a C6000, or as the badges indicate, just a GMC 6000. Box truck, formerly a U-Haul originally. It has a 360.
Is it like a 18-foot U-Haul or something?
24 foot.
Oh, is it that big?
Yeah, yeah.
So is
it
that...
is 30-foot bumper to bumper.
So it's 24 is just the bottom of the box?
No, I think that includes the overhang.
Okay.
The over cab area.
That makes more sense. It doesn't seem like it would be that big, but...
Yeah. 24-foot box. It has a 366 big block, which if you've never heard of, that's because it's kind of an oddball engine.
I've never heard of it.
Well, I knew you hadn't.
I'm just trying to normalize the ignorance of not knowing all these things.
For those of you in listener land, if you've never heard of a Chevy 366...
I haven't.
It's an interesting engine in my research of this. You'll see a lot of forum posts of people asking how to like make power with them and a bunch of responses of it's a boat anchor. And then you'll find this little corner of the internet where these people are the way I get obsessed with stuff, like obsessed with a 366. No, it was not Reddit.
Huh.
There's like a couple old school, like
there's still forums out there.
Manually written HTML websites with massive documentation on why this is the greatest engine ever. It was very under-stressed. So they're known to go 300,000 plus miles before needing a rebuild, but they don't make a bunch of power. They do have a pretty flat torque curve. I explained it to someone. It was kind of like they set out and said, how can we make something with the benefits of a diesel without it being diesel? Mm-hmm. Meaning lots of miles before rebuild, very flat torque delivery.
So we didn't even know how many miles this had on it when we were getting serious about looking. No. This girl just consistently sent me pictures and initiated conversation. Pretty lonely out there in the hills. Yeah. She kept, lucky for us that she kept giving me more and more information, kind of trickled in. I think it only has, 116 on it? 116,000
on it. Even odder to me was, I know automatic transmissions haven't been around forever, especially in bigger trucks. This technically being a medium-duty truck. I don't know that I ever realized that U-Haul had manual transmission vehicles that they rented out to people, which is mind-blowing to me. So it's a 366 with a 5-speed.
Well, this is older than both of us. So. Sure. But there were automatic transmission options for that truck at the time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that you've gotten in the cab much to read any of the U-Haul stickers that are left over. No.
But it has instructions for automatic and manual, because they just made one sticker and slapped it in all of them on like how to start it, etc. Old enough that there are instructions to, I believe it was push, maybe it was pull, the choke rod for the carburetor, because it is carbureted. Bench seat, lap belts. It is a beautiful piece of
history.
American
U-Haul history.
History. But they had converted it into a motorhome. Mm-hmm. Both like the actual build out and the title's been converted.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job building it out. That was the main thing, is they put a lot of intention into it. It wasn't just like a flip. You can tell they intended on, and they did have it for a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They had to have it for at least 5, well, they said 2020 is when they built it.
Started building it at the beginning of the pandemic.
So, a handful of years, 4 years they've been using it. And it's crazy because they would have, showed us a couple pictures of their kids in it. And they're like twice the size. So it's just crazy to see how fast they grow in 4 years. But, they spent a lot of time in it seems like. And they would just go to, a local campground and play video games in it. They had it pretty well modernly adapted. But so the main thing it's missing is a bathroom.
Yeah.
Kind of. It
has an area for one.
Yeah, so they had
going to add one.
Yeah, they even took pictures of a toilet in it and all this stuff, but they ended up converting it. They must have realized at some point they had these children that they needed to have somewhere to sleep. So they're probably going to put them on the couch originally.
Yeah.
And then we're kind of a lot of people don't use bathrooms at different campgrounds because they're shower houses, and why mess with it? Yeah. Plus you have to pay probably to get everything pumped. So they simplified the running water situation and opted for bunkhouses, which the downfall with that is it is smaller than a regular bunk. So for them, their children outgrew it.
Yeah.
Probably a year or two ago, honestly, after seeing their kids.
Yeah. So I guess what drew me to it was a bit of we've had like proper camper. We had a coachman, and it was nice for what it was, but if you've ever owned a camper, especially anything modern-ish, it feels like they keep making them cheaper and cheaper somehow.
So you know how like the big bad wolf like blows the little piggy's house down? I'm pretty sure they all lived in campers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the construction of the walls of a lot of, especially the bumper pull stuff, even some of the fifth wheels, like it may look like it has nice fiberglass siding, but like the walls are 1x2 studs, and like
it's amazing that more of them don't just vibrate apart on the highway.
Yeah. So we had seen a couple conversions like this where they were built out more residential. The whole thing's 2x4 studded walls, 16 on center. The walls, the ceiling, the floor, they're all insulated. Has a residential window in the back. It does have, though, a few proper camper windows, because before they built this, they had, I believe he said it was a 78 or 79 Jayco Class C. So he robbed a few components from that and transferred them over. A few of the windows, the freshwater tank.
The sink. And the kitchen was from the camper, I think.
I didn't think the sink was, but the little
maybe
black,
not the faucet, but I think the sink might have been. Just like random stuff. They obviously like wanted to like carry on. Maybe they had memories in that one or something and wanted to like give it a second life. But most importantly, the AC.
Oh, yes. It has a wonderful mini split unit on it. 120 volt inverter style. It does a good job.
Because we've been running it on 15 amp and it's been cooling in a couple hours.
Yeah.
It takes a while just because like the wood is warm, but after about 2 hours, I'd say it's beyond comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, it held 68 in there like all day today.
That's good.
So.
It was a little cloudier today, but it didn't have a problem getting cool yesterday when it was 90 degrees either.
Yeah, I mean, I think our high today was like 86 though. So,
So we got a little bit of work to do on it, though. Today you put a little bit of elbow grease and some TLC into the engine area.
Well, the first thing we did was tried to figure out what we're going to do with the bikes, because it has a residential door on the back. And I think eventually we may either figure out a way to relocate the mini split and go to a ramp door, or we leave the mini split in place and or maybe shift it slightly towards the driver's side and then do like 2/3 of the back as a roll door.
Yeah, if you can. I just feel like it's already so much better than what we could have had and just need to live in it for a little bit and we'll kind of decide. You'll figure out which bikes you want to actually take and like pace stuff out. I don't think some of that stuff it's minimum viable product for vintage days. Like, what do you actually need to do? We only have a couple weeks. How are you going to space that out? Obviously, we don't want to dump a ton of money all at once, like, into things that we don't absolutely have to have in the next month or two. So,
agreed.
It's basically, for me, priorities would be making sure it moves, like having the engine in prime condition.
Yeah, so it did make it home, but we'll loop back to the travels there and back in a bit. But so we put the Rascal in it this morning. So the one benefit of it being a U-Haul truck originally is it has that wonderful aluminum U-Haul loading ramp.
Yeah.
Which...
like stores underneath the
original
box
U-Haul
area.
Position. Yeah.
No, I guess I wouldn't have really thought about... I didn't realize that's where it was stored, I think, until I saw it in person. Like, I think we saw pictures, but it never registered that you pull that ramp out and it stores underneath the bed.
Yeah. That's where it is on a U-Haul.
Well, I know. You say that like everyone just thinks about that stuff, but like I don't just like casually, you know.
It does have stairs that were modified from a more modern camper that we can run to instead of having to use the ramp, which is nice.
Yeah.
But the ramp is handy for loading bikes. We put the Rascal in it this morning. It was a little dicey at the door opening. I'm going to have to narrow up the controls a
And
bit on
it just fit in there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of like a get up to the door,
Hold on
turn the
for dear
handlebars
life.
kind of dip through the door, and then it's fine. Because
Yeah.
the whole bike's pretty narrow. It was just the handlebars were a little wide. Trying to figure out wheel chalk placement, a bit of what's the future of it look like, right?
Yeah, because one of the main things, like, when we got rid of our camper was because you didn't really want to go anywhere without at least being able to take a bike or at least having an option to. So part of looking at this was at least the potential of doubling up as a toy hauler. It does have a ball hitch, so we could easily
Pull a trailer
pull a trailer. So
or a K truck with a motorcycle in the bed.
or trailer. So that's the low key plan for vintage days, depending on where we get with everything else, because we're going to see if we can do something with a bathroom, right? That's priority. At least a toilet, because the showers, I know they have those, and you can kind of makeshift a shower. I mean,
they do have porta potties too.
that's true, but I don't know. Something about a porta potty late at night, like just not a vibe. I don't mind using them during the day, but those midnight peas, man, just not fun.
We laid out bathroom options
Digitally,
Yeah.
we didn't get time to do it in there today.
No, it's going to be a bit of creativity to get everything to fit and not feel like it was really tight, which is interesting because I want to go back to his original pictures of his layout.
Yeah, he had like a full-blown porcelain throne in there.
Yeah, it was a residential toilet in the original layout pictures, which I'm just in hindsight like how were we fitting that?
Well, and what was his idea? Did he have just like a toilet laying around? He said, we'll just set it in here and see how it fits? Or was he actually going to put it in there? Because that would just use so much water.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not worried about your water consumption or black water storage, which, again, it's a giant truck. You can fit massive tanks underneath that thing. I was looking at it earlier today. Like,
I
it's
guess
just
so, but I'd rather
under
take
there.
a bunch of showers than use a residential toilet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, we have to figure out the bathroom layout. Today was kind of engine tune-up stuff. Spark plugs, distributor cap, rotor, ignition coil.
Did you get it all done?
I got everything I was planning on doing today done.
That's good.
New wiper blades, new air cleaner. Still have to figure... The only thing I was hoping to get to today that I did not figure out was the turn signals. Kind of was already... Not kind of. I was planning on ordering spark plug wires anyways. After doing the spark plugs, realized it was a necessity.
Well, I don't think you mentioned that the turn signal stopped working halfway home.
Because we haven't got to the home story yet. So
well, that's kind of delayed. You want to get on that?
Yeah, so this was talking about the truck to understand. The thought process was, big unfamiliar truck. I'm pretty comfortable driving most anything. But I was like, maybe not buy this thing and immediately hop on 70 to 77 like interstate to go home. And then after the last third of the drive there, I was like, maybe we should just hop on 70 to 77 to go home. Because
you mean like on the way down there you changed your mind?
We went down the route we did because that was my planned route for coming back. In some of those curves, I was like, there's just no way.
Well, there was no way for us to communicate either with no cell service. That was like a huge concern as well. And the fact that the lanes were like, the road was like 1.5 lanes and there was deer every so often. It's kind of like, that's not, driving at night is already like sketchy for me, not because of like, most people like just can't see and they have eyesight problems. I've just almost hit so many deer in my life. I'd rather not drive at dusk if I don't have to. Let alone on a back curvy road, vehicles we're not familiar with, and no ways to communicate. Not really a thrill I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That, and we didn't know mileage that you were going to get. Like if something else mechanically would go wrong, like we would never be found. Well, maybe eventually, but not an amount of time I'd want to wait.
Yeah. So after the road in general between the lane size and the curves and the hills, before we even got there, I had mentioned that I think we were just doing 70 to 77 on the way back. So we pick it up. We go down the street, grab fuel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we learned that the truck originally had AC. Somewhere, he believes the gentleman we bought it from, he believes the owner before him removed the AC compressor. So it no longer has AC, and it's been really hot the past week.
Last year at Vintage Days, it was actually really cold. I brought pants the one day that I put on, probably because we were sweaty during the day and you just get cold and clammy at night, but it was chilly that one day.
Yeah. But like the high most of the days this week was in the low 90s with heat indexes into the upper 90s.
Like even when the wind blows, it's just blowing hot air in your face. Like it's not like beneficial.
No. So
luckily, I don't think it was that hot when we went. Thank goodness. I think it was mid.
Easy for you to say. You drove back in air conditioning.
It's true.
I got out of that truck when we got back just drenched. And I had the window down.
Yeah, and you don't do well in the heat to begin with.
No, I don't.
So
we stopped to put fuel in it because it has a sometimes it works fuel gauge. And he had told me he put about 15 gallons in it, so we stopped. I filled it up the rest of the way. It's like a 50 or 55 gallon fuel tank. And I believe the route we got on was 7 to maybe 270 for a short bit to 70 proper. And the moment we hit, like we got left getting fuel, taken on ramp. And it did not appear that the road was that inclined.
I don't know that it was. I mean, I do remember being like, wow, this is really slow to accelerate.
First off, the gearing in this thing is wild. You will get through the first 4 gears by the time you're doing 40.
It's a lot of moving that stick.
Yeah. So 5th gear is kind of like 35 to whatever it's doing when it redlines, which depends on who you ask as far as where this engine actually redlines. U-Haul's overspeed light comes on at about 3,500-ish RPMs. Maybe 37 if we're being generous. The interwebs tells me that the red line is realistically somewhere more between like 45 and 5,500. But so we take the on-ramp.
Yep.
I am foot to the floor.
And that poor thing was...
Yeah, we're doing 40 in the slow lane. I downshift to 4th to thinking it's going to help me, and I'm just like in the bad spot of the RPMs. I get maybe up to like 43, shift back into 5th, and I'm just at best holding. And I'm like, okay, maybe something's up at the secondaries, let off the pedal a bit, lose speed, can't gain it back. By the time we get to the top of this hill, my leg is like sore.
And I'm just hoping that we can start picking up some speed because it's going to be a long ride home. I was like, I don't know if I have 3 hours.
Drive there.
Yeah, and that was easy. So, like, we have a vehicle that we're unfamiliar with. I mean, it was highway, so that really wasn't a factor. But, I mean, it was like, I think we left there at after 9 o'clock. So, like,
too late.
For sure. And there was even things we didn't even get done. Like, we were going to get it notarized while we were there. And we were going to I forgot to make sure I had insurance until we stopped the first time. So like little things like that it could have taken longer to make the transaction. Cause I think we were down there 7, might've been a little after, might've been like, we left at like 7. No, we left a little after 5. So we would have got there by like 7:30.
Yeah.
I think like 7 o'clock at some point we got there. And so we were there 2 hours, just kind of like you were getting the rundown and I was just kind of like BSing with the lady and hanging out and waiting for you to make sure there was nothing wrong with it, you know?
Yeah. He was into dirt bikes. That was his 2-wheeled vehicle of choice.
Now, do we think it was a coincidence that he bought a brand new dirt bike?
Not brand new.
Okay. It looked very clean. That he bought a new dirt bike to him. That was the exact same price as what the camper was listed for originally?
I mean, maybe, but the camper been for sale for, 3 months?
Yeah, when did he get his bike?
2 days before we went.
Oh, really? I wasn't part of that conversation. Like,
well, yeah, that was the trip she said they just went on.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wonder how long he looked at it.
I don't know. It was a KTM 350, whatever.
Maybe that's the day she texted me and she was like, "Are you sure? Are you guys still serious?" Because she's probably holding it over and be like, "Okay, you can get this, but like, we gotta sell this thing, you know."
Yeah, it was whatever the like factory competition spec was. Really sweet bikes. I'm.
Sorry.
Are you just kicking stuff over there?
A little bit, yes. I was trying to like fiddle with something to keep myself entertained, and something moved. Sorry.
Yeah. Dirt bikes intrigue me to some extent. I'm not super into dirt. If we had more
You're not
land,
into dirt.
No, I mean if we had more land, I'd do more dirt riding, but we just don't.
Yeah, I'm glad you don't. There's a little more dangerous. I mean, accident prone. I don't want to say dangerous, but...
I was going to say, what are you worried about? The other cars in the woods?
No, I just know that a lot of people like to break...
wheelers.
People like to break arms and legs and dirt bikes and stuff. And I'm not saying it can't happen on the road, but I don't know. Carry on.
Yeah. But yeah, so after the getting on the highway, doing everything in its power to get that truck to do 40 up the first hill, I was, at that point, very much second-guessing our decision.
Which I'm glad we didn't have cell phone service. Or we did, but you couldn't really talk on the phone because you had your GPS like suctioned to the windshield and your windows were down.
Window down, and it has mufflers, but they don't do much. Like, it's not obnoxiously loud, but it is a V8 with a large diameter exhaust.
Well, and I was just glad. I mean, glad I didn't know you were second guessing your decision because I haven't really allowed room for that in my life yet.
Now, about I forget what I told you, like halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way to 77. I was really hitting my groove with that truck and feeling better about it.
Because we hit like 55, 60 miles per hour and we're holding steady on a flat road.
It was doing a lot better. You know, good old-fashioned Italian tune-up. Apparently knocked some cobwebs out of the carburetor or something.
Well, they didn't really drive it that much, so who knows if it ever really got wide open.
Our trip home, they said, was the longest trip it had been on since they owned it.
Woof.
Yeah. But yeah, it started doing better. I was excited because it has been a long time since I drove a vehicle where the high beam switch was on the floor. And it is one of the things I miss.
That sounds horrible. So you have to do you lose sight of the road when you bend down and...
Oh, it's just in the left corner. You just reach out with your foot and click it.
Your foot?
Yeah, it's on the floor.
I've never heard of that.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, is that what that green thing was?
No. That's the parking brake. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the next phase of modifications
Hold on.
Okay.
So then we're almost home. Mm-hmm. And I go to change lanes.
And I'm like, oh, well, he's just getting aggressive, aren't we? We stopped using the blinker. Apparently we're comfortable.
Yeah, no, turn signals just decided to stop working. Then I realized that the high beam indicators stopped working.
It's slowly falling apart on the way home.
I'm like, oh, good. I thought we had established trust, me and you, Mr. Truck, and slowly dying in front of me on the way home. I will tell you that no matter how far the window is down, I think partly due to the aerodynamics of the truck, and partly the fact that it was just hot, and at that point at night, it felt cool-ish, but it was still probably 80. Mm-hmm. It was just cool compared to the 92.
It was a non-sunny 80.
Mm-hmm. The amount of heat that radiates through the firewall from a V8 running in front of you, you really feel.
I didn't think of that.
When there's no air circulation in the cab and you just cannot get enough wind in through the windows. So I was very happy when we got home to get out of the cab.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
So you're going to try to add AC, or where's that
at least figure out what is going on with the blower motor.
So it doesn't even blow?
Kind of. But none of the switches really seem to do anything.
Ugh.
It just kind of does whatever it wants, it seems.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing worse than not having cold air is not having air at all.
Yeah. Like, it's most blower motors fail at full speed because they use a resistor pack to, like, slow the fan down. So, like, you may lose your low speeds, but, like, high speed always works. This one's, like, low speed is the only option that works. Yeah.
All right, so next round of modifications, like probably nothing's going to happen this week, but maybe Wednesday you can get something done. I won't be here to like buffer with our little monsters who have large needs.
Yeah, the dogs.
Yes, dogs, not children.
Yeah.
So what is your plan for the next week?
Spark plug wires.
More? I thought you got them all done.
No, I did the spark plugs.
Oh.
But I didn't have the wires yet.
Okay.
They have to be ordered. No one has them in stock.
Of course. Okay.
Headlights. Headlights are way up on the list. Turns out, the original sealed beam headlights from 1986 kind of suck. They're also aimed a little weird.
So do you just need new bulbs, or do you need like whole
I'm
light
looking
fixtures?
at like doing an LED conversion, probably.
Okay.
I'd love to figure out the turn signal issue. Again, I haven't looked super deep into it, but it's very odd. I went through the fuses. Nothing's blown. You just hit the turn signal stop.
Well, have you even tried to do it again since
on.
you bought a new battery? I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yeah, I haven't put it in yet.
Okay, so maybe like just when you do like
maybe I'll get lucky. Just the ground was knocked loose.
Exactly. I said you haven't even tried it. So once you get the new battery in, just
hit
cross your fingers.
Yeah. As far as modifications ahead of vintage days, some version of a bathroom hopefully is done. But otherwise, and wheel chocks to mount bikes.
Oh, so we need to get like one project done every weekend between now and then. Bathroom's going to be a big one. So you need to like Wednesday, if you can work on the mechanical things that I can't help with. And then I will be back. So it'll be like 29th of June. We can, hopefully you magically just fix the turn signals. Hopefully those fix themselves. So you got headlights, and then 4th of July, we need to like get serious about the bathroom solution. And then the weekend after, which would be like 10th, 11th. Hopefully you have a solution for the wheel chocks.
For, loading bikes.
If we do like one project every weekend, and then we'll actually have one weekend to buffer.
Yeah, because the bike mounting points are kind of lowest priority. Because the worst case scenario is we just pull a trailer.
Yeah, that's true. So if you need 2 weekends for the bathroom, that can happen. But hopefully, we can really lean into the 4th of July holiday and have two-day segments that I say we, but really I can't do anything without you, so you can work on it.
Yeah. I think the big thing with the bathroom is we just have to figure out the layout.
Yeah, we need to commit to something.
What shower's going in, what toilet's going in, because not that the work will be quick, but that's kind of
we need to like make the purchase and get it here.
Figuring out the logistics of what can fit in that room.
Yeah, half the battle is just getting the stuff here, because some of the stuff you can't get online. Some of you can, or in person, I mean. So you have to get it ordered. So it could take at least a week to get things here. So we need to make decisions and have stuff waiting for us here for when we have time.
Yeah.
All right, good plan. Let's move on.
Onwards.
It's 11:30.
Yeah.
In case you were wondering.
Well, we started a little before 11.
We're making great time. I'm not tired at all.
Oh, good. Recalls.
Yes.
Surprisingly, none. None that at least came up in my searching.
That's like the
Nothing
first time
obvious.
ever.
As always, you should check the NHTSA and National Highway Traffic Safety Association, their website.
Yep. Don't rely on us.
Yeah, don't rely on us for recalls. Sometimes we disappear for a few months. Into the news. Barber Small Bore just finished up.
Never heard of it, but I learned a lot from reading the article.
Before.
Did we?
Yeah.
Do not remember.
It is at Barber Raceway Motorsport Park, wherever where the Barber Motorcycle Museum is.
Down south.
In Alabama.
That's for sure. I knew because they referenced Buc-ee's, and we don't have those here. We're too far north.
No, but after our Alabama trip to pick up the Honda a couple years ago, I had mentioned doing the Barber Small Bore Fest, which the real bummer. So first of all, motorcycle.com's got some fantastic coverage. Link will be in the show notes.
Very in-depth, lots of pictures, pretty good storytelling. There were some good stories of the journalist who covered that.
Yeah, the hill climb definitely had a vintage days vibe to me. Seemed loosely organized. Lots of carnage in the pictures. People were just kind of chucking whatever they had up this hill over obstacles.
Lots of testosterone driven by a challenge.
Yeah, they said, I believe, the bottom of the hill started with boulders, and then towards the top of the hill, there were multiple log crossings.
Well, in the year that they covered, which I think was the most recent, it had rained all night and the day of, and so it was super sloppy. I'm glad you didn't partake in that. I would have had a heart attack.
Yeah.
So would our health insurance, probably. Yeah.
The bummer part is, as of right now, it looks like I will never be able to partake in it because Man in the Box, who, if you're not familiar with, does a lot of kind of small bore motorcycle and scooter parts, accessories, etc. They've announced that this year is the end of Barber Small Bore.
It sounds like there was like some decision made of like, it was pretty abrupt, and I don't know if they didn't want people to know. They obviously waited until after the fact to be like, oh, that was the last one. So who knows? Could be insurance related. Could be business problems.
Yeah.
Could have just been. I mean, we know with like vintage days that they cancel things that just people get stupid. So maybe it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Weird to not have announced it ahead of time because it would have pumped numbers, I'm sure.
Well, maybe there was an executive change and that person just didn't like it. Someone with too much power had an opinion. Like you don't know. Yeah. And sometimes you're better off not knowing, I guess.
Yeah. So maybe hopefully it comes back. If it is financial related, I just want to say, I know money is a real thing. There are things that I wish I could do that I do not have the money to do. But when it comes to motorcycle events, like if it is important to you at all for an event to exist, like I don't want this to come off wrong, but like don't complain about the price going up a little bit. If that means the event still gets to exist, like the Mid-Ohio Vintage Motorcycle Days Facebook group, the last like handful of posts have been people complaining about feeling like they're getting nickel and dimed.
Well, the annoying thing is that people complain about price all the time. People complain about it at the grocery store. They complain about it. And here's the thing. It's like, well, if you can't afford to go, if it's not in your budget, you don't have to go. And it's same as,
Sure, but I'm not encouraging that. What I'm saying is more of the like, if you want it to exist and they say the price is going up $5, there's a good chance that the price is going up $5 because that's what it takes to make sure the event still exists. It's not just to get $5 more out of your pocket. Now, sure, there's arguments. I know some people are complaining about salaries made by AMA employees, but
what are they saying went up?
So there's a new charge for camping in the paddock, the off-road racing paddocks. That was not there before. Apparently, you could camp there free if you were racing. Now they're charging $75 for a paddock pass to camp there. So people are used to free camping and now have to pay $75 to camp.
Free?
If you were a racer.
Oh, so you kind of like got...
You paid to race, right? And then you got free camping. Well, now you have to pay to camp in the paddocks.
It's interesting that they didn't increase the cost of racing, because that makes me think that like people were sneaking in or bringing their friend, or there was some sort of abuse that they wouldn't have just increased the racing.
It could have went up. I don't remember all the details. The one that was being brought up the most was the fact that they were charging for camping there now. Which, again, I understand money's a real thing, but $75 to camp there is a lot cheaper than like, what did I tell you the motor home like pass was? $350 something?
Oh, our tickets were like, wasn't it like $390?
Yeah, and then it was $400 even after the convenience fee.
Yeah.
But if you look at it compared to camping at any other campground, you're like $100 a night. And you get
it's a little more, but you're getting an event. Like,
well, it's cheaper than some campgrounds.
Yeah, and it is quite long if you compare it to like another vacation. It's very hard to find a vacation under two people that's like 4 or 5 days long that's going to be less than $1,000.
Yeah. And there's nowhere else I can go and have the same experience as I can at Vintage Days.
Yeah, people need to learn to pay up for experiences. I think there's more value in experiences now than there used to be because so many things are replaced digitally, but experiences will never be replaced. And I feel like we're being
Not
more.
yet.
Stop it. We don't need that negativity.
Yeah.
But see, now you've derailed me.
Sorry.
But I don't know. Overall, it's just a matter of like, we're so selective about what we do spend money on because of everything going on that it's like, pick your things, spend your money, and shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just want to make sure Vintage Days can continue.
Well, and like, now that you're getting closer to the event, the hype is up. We don't need people peeing on our parade all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of the things I noticed with like Facebook groups in general. So I don't belong to very many, but there's like a Costco one and an Aldi one. People go on there and like literally all they do is go on to complain. No one ever goes on and says good things, or if they are, it's not getting the engagement to boost in the algorithm. It's literally people going out, like even the Aldi ones being like, "Oh my God, is it just me, or is the quality of this, whatever?" Or is like every once in a while we just have such a low tolerance for things not being 100% in our favor for whatever the reason. People just have way too many ways to like get their voice out there. I feel like we're just hearing the wrong people because I'm sure people have always complained. That's just they've been given a platform. And here's the thing: if you're going to complain, that's fine. But I'm sure there's a thread you can contribute those opinions to without creating a new one.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Is like everyone complains about everything in these grocery threads, and it's like go find one where someone already complained.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Well, now that we're done complaining about complaining.
Oh, that's my favorite pastime.
On to the next story.
Yes.
Harley has got a win in a lawsuit over their warranty practices. This was out of Wisconsin, I believe. Basically breaks down to the way they worded some of their stuff. So
very dodgy.
The owners that were pursuing this lawsuit challenged that, this was a direct quote from an ADV Pulse article, owners challenged that a provision in Harley-Davidson's warranty paperwork stated that use of unauthorized parts, quote, may void their coverage. So Harley-Davidson then countered that the provision does not say the use of third-party parts or services will void a warranty. It merely says may void a warranty.
Which we all know is just a legal dodge for definitely meaning it would have.
It's definitely not consumer-friendly wording.
No, so like within the healthcare industry where I work, we use may very often because you want to say something, but it is the word that gets you out of legal obligation.
Yeah.
It is the only reason they won that. But it just sucks. That's like, why even put that in there? Why not say, you know what I mean? Obviously, they did that very intelligently.
Well, do you know why they put it there?
Also, they could dodge these legal.
No, because they want people to assume they have to buy Harley-Davidson parts and get their bike serviced at the Harley-Davidson dealership. But if they say that they're required to, the way the warranty laws are written in the U.S., they must then provide those free of charge. You cannot require someone to use a specific product or service to maintain a warranty. Now, it is then up to, so if I put non-Harley oil in my Harley-Davidson and the engine blows up, Harley has to prove that it was my usage of that oil, the non-Harley oil, even though Harley obviously doesn't have their own oil refinery. It's not like they're making their own oil.
Yeah, they're just white labeling it.
But it is their responsibility to prove that my use of third-party oil is what caused the engine damage.
No, they probably would only go through that extent, though, if it was taken to court, because what they probably have their people trained to say is, no, sorry, like, what kind of oil did you...
100%.
If people confess, it's like, oh, sorry, not us. Yeah. Only would they actually, do research and, take the proper steps as if they are actually legally threatened.
Yeah. It seems that a lot of this centered around the Pan America. But ultimately, the judge sided with Harley. I expect there to be an appeal.
Or there'll be a
if there
specific
isn't-
lawsuit or something. Like people will come out of the woodwork and be like, well, here's what I was told. If they can find proof,
well,
they'll have to take them on case by case.
Yeah, they just had to settle with the FTC a couple years ago over some of their practices. It's not a good look for Harley to be hiding behind the word may versus will on whether or not something's going to void a warranty. There's no way, because I know how this works because of the industry like products I deal with. If you say that it may void a warranty and that person calls a dealership, they're going to get an answer. The next dealership they call, they're going to get a different answer.
Mm-hmm.
They call Harley corporate, they're going to get a different answer than they got from probably both of those dealerships, right? That becomes an issue. So I just would find it very hard to believe that there isn't going to be an appeal.
No, they'll probably just take out that wording altogether.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would expect.
Like I said, why even bring it up?
Good. Take it out. Good. The Co 450 rally.
That's not how you say it.
What?
I even put pronunciation on there for you. It's Kova. Did yours update?
Yeah, I mean, I see that.
I would assume.
Cove. Okay.
Kova. Dude, I copied that directly off the article because I knew we were going to pronounce it wrong.
I've been calling it Cove. I'm rolling with Cove.
Everyone probably thinks Cove when they read it.
KOV. The Co 450 rally is now 50 state legal. It looks like bikes should be starting to ship here in the next handful of weeks or so. You can probably get a deposit in soon and get a bike soon-ish. 5
to 6 weeks, right in time for the end of summer.
So if you're unhappy with your Harley-Davidson Pan America over warranty wording,
we have the deal for you.
Yeah, go put a deposit on a Co 450 rally. Do you remember towards the end of last week's episode, I mentioned a touring bike with a flat 8 engine?
Nope.
Okay. So the Goldwing, current generation Honda Goldwing, has a flat 6-cylinder. It's 1.8 liters. Bigger than the engine that was in your Civic, or as big, except 2 more cylinders. But so Great Wall Motors out of China basically is in development of making a flat 8 that's going to be, I forget, 2 or 2.2 liters. But originally it looked like they were just doing touring bikes, which now I've seen some pictures of them, and they look pretty sweet because the pictures are black with gold, which gets me excited because I love Smoking the Bandit. But it also looks like they're now going to be doing a flat 8 cruiser. And the spy photos that Cycle World has, it looks like they copied Honda's homework on the Honda Rune. The worst thing about it, though, I think, is
the angry eyes.
Yeah, they're worried about the cruiser version of this sounding cruiser-y at idle. So how they plan to address that is cylinder deactivation. Because cylinder deactivation works so well in like 4-wheeled vehicles.
Is that like when it goes silent at the stop sign?
No, that's where you take a V8 and you shut off like 2 or 4 or however many cylinders. Now the pistons are still moving. You normally either have to hang valves open or, who was it that had the massive issues? I think it was Cadillac, maybe. Was it late 70s, early 80s? Tried cylinder deactivation. Everyone kind of moved away from it for a while. GM brought it back on some of their trucks. Dodge has it, I believe, on some of the Rams. As far as I know, both of the modern systems have had some hiccups, not as bad as the original attempts. So not really excited about that being in a motorcycle. But if you don't want an 8-cylinder motorcycle, more specifically, if you wish you had a small displacement inline 4, QJ Motor and CF Moto are both bringing out inline 4 sport bikes. So QJ Motor is bringing out their SRK 400RR, as you can probably imply from the name, a 400cc inline 4, kind of to compete directly head-on with the Kawasaki 400cc inline 4 Ninja. CF Moto, however, is going to be bringing out 500cc. And it is interesting. Did you look at the pictures of this bike?
I don't think I did.
So it is the 500 SR Voom. It has what appear to be headlights, 2 circular openings. But they are not headlights. They are air scoops.
Oh.
Kind of ram air system-esque.
Look like eyeballs.
And then the headlight actually is below those. The tail section's a little weird for me. But other than
it's like a nice seat for a ride. It gives it like a backrest to
for the
rider.
Yeah. The tail section for like the passenger seat is just kind of weird looking compared to the rest of the bike.
I would not sit on that.
No, you wouldn't. You absolutely would not.
That makes my hips hurt looking at it.
Yeah.
That is not a passenger friendly bike. It's giving me
Most sport bikes
Ninja a little. Yeah, it's giving me Ninja a little bit, but I do really like the incorporation of like the bronze or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool colors.
Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal looking bike. I love almost all the styling here. I like the color choices in these pictures that are being shown around.
Because I feel like usually a lot of manufacturers just like make black bikes and then add plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some color to the rims. This is actually like integrated color.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good looking bike. The air scoop / ram air-ish system is intriguing. And I am all for inline fours making a comeback, even if it's smaller displacement stuff. Let's see. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask, but I know the answer is probably no. You don't remember. Do you remember the company Cake?
I mean, I do like cake. So yeah, it sounds familiar.
Okay. So they filed bankruptcy like back in February, right? Well, they've been sold.
Well, they've been bought.
Yeah.
Not really sold. They were like purchased.
Well,
same thing.
For someone to buy it, it has to be sold, right? So they're returning the models they were making at the time of bankruptcy are going to be coming back. The funniest part about this whole thing was, let me forget which article had the notes on it. That was really good. It was Dealer News. They just started off right at the top. So if you remember from the Harley Davidson Museum, they go over the history of the company, and Harley was owned by AMF for a while, and then it was purchased back from them. So one of the shareholders in Cake was AMF.
But
Not the American like AMF that owned Harley. As dealernews.com put it, the ironically named Swedish pension fund, who the original owners or shareholders got nothing in the bankruptcy filings. They were below all of the other creditors as far as like getting paid. So the pension fund basically is just totally out, which sucks for people who rely on that pension fund. The company buying it is a car retailer, and I guess they're leaning in heavily into EVs, and they thought this was a perfect fit. So we'll see if they manage to make it work.
sounds like they're pretty, they believe a lot in like Cake's business models. So it sounds like, it didn't sound like they were planning on getting rid of the name. So,
No, not at all. It seems like they mainly just want to like up distribution.
Yeah.
Make it easier
like
for
they
people
want
to
to
get
like
their hands on them.
keep like the loyalty and stuff that exists. They seem to really believe in the product. So that's good news. I mean, it gave a good vibe.
Yeah. No, it definitely did.
I mean, in Cake.
It's more of a I'll believe it when I see it kind of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah. This one was fun.
Mm-hmm.
A new Guinness World Record has been set for the youngest pair to circumnavigate the globe by motorcycle riding pillion.
And they're younger than us, so we're past.
Only slightly.
Yeah. Very close. I wonder if their
But
age.
I think we could go for it and get second. You ready?
Can I sleep tonight first?
Yeah.
Okay.
What
They
you
were 33 and 35, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that was probably after because you can't. I mean, they're not. The record's not going to count until they're done. So they probably started when they were like 31 and 33.
Yeah, I
because
think
it
said
took
their
2 years.
average, like, because it was the average combined age was like 33 years and however many 100 days.
Yeah, well, it specifically said 33 and 35 if you
Yeah.
want general.
Yeah. 39 countries.
Yep.
5 continents.
Mm-hmm.
46,705 miles
Oh, that's so many miles.
on the back of a motorcycle.
Oh, they were together? I thought they were each on their own bikes.
No. 2 up, 1 bike.
I wonder if she ever drove.
I don't know. They didn't really say that. She could have.
They should meet long way up.
Yeah. 589 days.
My butt hurts
So almost
thinking about it.
2 years on the bike.
I would cry.
While they were going through North America, they stopped in Vegas and got married.
That's cute.
Yeah. And they did it all on a Suzuki DL 1050 XT.
I didn't realize they were together.
Yeah.
I assumed they were like together on different bikes.
Yeah. No, 2 up.
I didn't know
Same
what that
bike.
meant. I
Whole
just
time.
ignored that word.
Okay. Yeah. That means riding on the back.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that bike again just for the sake of like,
Yep. Go stare at that bike and
Realizing-
be like 46,000 miles.
say rest in peace to her hips because
Almost 2 years.
it is a bit of it's a pretty
Yeah.
big bike.
Mm-hmm. It's a big ADV bike.
she don't have backrest though.
They're definitely
There's a trunk,
worse.
but
Definitely worse vehicles to do it on.
I didn't watch their YouTube.
I haven't yet either. It's on my saved list.
On
to
your
watch.
list.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one's kind of silly.
Kawasaki is backing a stunt rider to try and break a different world record.
This is like stupid to me.
They're looking at using a Kawasaki H2, of course, to break the fastest speed being dragged behind a motorcycle.
See, I read the title and I didn't realize, I'm like, what does dragged behind a motorcycle mean to you? Like, I imagined, I'm like, someone's like
Really
hog-tied.
splitting
Like, I didn't realize it was like an intentional record that someone went after, but it is kind of like water skiing if no one was driving the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy had like steel shoes on, rode the bike really fast, got off the bike, held on to the back of the bike. Somehow, they modify the bike so it keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
And he just stands there water skiing like a squirrel on asphalt behind the bike.
Yeah, the
How
current
do you
record,
think his shins felt afterwards?
probably not awesome.
Oh my word.
So they're trying to break the current record, which has stood, I believe, since the late 90s of 100, or maybe it was early 2000s. But the current record is 156.3 miles an hour
Yeah, so,
behind a Suzuki Hayabusa.
so they're going for 160 miles per hour. I wonder how long he has to do that for. If it's just like a second, 2 seconds. Because you got to do it long enough to get up to speed.
Yep.
Hold on to a freaking bike with your feet down. Ugh, I could just imagine the ankles. Can we move on?
Yeah. Vespa has released a new campaign.
I didn't get it.
The Empty Space campaign, which is then made up of 2 separate campaigns within it that made less sense. One named Summer Edit, and the other Vespa by the Sea, which that one at least makes sense. And basically they're advertising campaigns-ish. So they made a whole press release about that, and they took photos to push, it appears, just Vespa merch.
Is that what it is? Because I could
Yeah.
not figure out. There wasn't
If you
very
scroll
many
to the bottom,
scooters. I'm clicking on the stuff now at the
Yeah.
bottom and it doesn't actually have a place to buy things. It's so creative, it's hard to follow, is what I will say.
yeah. Well, what I want to lead with is if you go to the Summer Edits page, in the, not the photo all the way at the top of the man and woman on horseback, but down further with the model on the, what appears to be maybe
Sheepskin covered.
Yeah,
It's
sheepskin
definitely
covered Vespa.
Sherpa vibe.
Make sure to call Phil at Clevemoto and ask him when you can get the sheepskin covered Vespa, because I'm sure it'll sell about as well as the Justin Bieber edition.
Maybe it's spray foam.
No, I really think that's sheepskin. It definitely looks like fur. I think they took
maybe it's a cover you
inspiration.
buy and put it on the Bieber Vespa.
Yeah, I think, well, there's a good chance that this was a Bieber Vespa that they modified because the bike does appear to be mostly white.
It's a creamy white, though.
Well, the wheels are, the inside of the leg shield seems more white, but the grips are covered in sheepskin as well.
This whole campaign is just really hard to follow. They definitely missed some user experience connections here.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Like, they're great photos, of course.
Are they? Looks. So before we get to the photos, I just want to know they definitely took inspiration for the sheepskin one from Scootbaka, the Chewbacca themed scooter Phil has. Because that is the only other fur-covered scooter I'm aware of. I love looking over at you and you cocking your head while looking at these pictures.
Well, some of these things are in British pounds, which converts fairly similar.
Or euros?
Yeah, whatever they are. And they pretty... I thought they were fairly close in conversion.
Yeah.
This handkerchief, so it's like supposed to be a pendant. You like fold it in half. Mm-hmm. It says, why will it not show me the whole? No plans, no maps, just ride. But look, it looks like a 10-year-old wrote it with their left hand.
Yep. My favorite piece of merch, though. So the Vespa by the Sea campaign within this, I already forget what are they calling this. Empty space campaign. The Vespa by the Sea one at least kind of makes sense because it's like beach related stuff.
Italy.
With your Vespa, right? Yeah. Sure, fine. Not like random pictures with horses. What cracked me up though was one of the items they have under their summer essentials. If you would go to the bottom of that page for me, you'll see the bikini listed.
Oh, okay? I've clicked on it.
Okay, but directly to the left of the bikini.
The pants that are shorts?
Yes. Yeah, they're definitely swim trunks.
Board shorts.
Board shorts listed as beach pants.
Well, maybe it was lost in translation because I'm a little confused. This bikini, first of all, is only available in extra small, small, and medium, so not for American bodies. It is very revealing, very not quite thong, but
bikini. Yeah.
Did you look at the back of it?
No, I can't get it to.
Here.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say in some obviously, again, probably not marketed to the American economy. In Brazil, this would be nothing.
Yeah.
In certain beaches and stuff, like this is excessive material. But for American, not so much. I also don't know, does it even say Vespa on anywhere? Like, is there any novelty to this purchase? I'm having trouble navigating their site in general. It's not loading.
Yeah. The other one that I really like.
It's just a white bikini. I don't see anything on it that would like make you want to spend $390 on it. Plus, I think you get the top and the bottom in the same size, which is risky to begin with.
Or you buy two.
What?
You said the top and bottom come in the same size. So if you want different sizes, then you'll have to order two.
Yeah, for a white bikini, like, go to Target.
Yeah, the other one I really liked was the €150 beach cushion, which is just a Vespa throw pillow.
Maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's not even real.
No, I think they're pretty serious about it.
Okay.
I'm now that I found the actual shop page, kind of bummed that they are not selling the what appeared to be sweatpants chaps that were in one of the photos. But
so why would they put things in their photos they aren't selling? What a miss.
Yeah. It's very odd. Links will be in show notes if you'd like to be as perplexed as we are.
Yep.
This was pretty cool. It looks like the Isle of Man is going to get a Drive to Survive style docuseries in 2025. It released in 2025. If you're not familiar, are you familiar with Drive to Survive?
No, but I'm familiar with Isle of Man because people
Yeah.
go there and they die.
Yep. They do other things as well.
They ride and then they die.
Some people just go to watch the races.
Oh, that'd be so
Some
scary.
people actually live there. Some work there. Drive to Survive was a Formula One docuseries.
Oh, nope, never heard of it.
But so that should be interesting. Excited for that. And the last one was a bit of weird news.
Yeah, so that actually released yesterday.
Tomorrow, I thought.
No, it was Australian third day ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess
So
it's
it's
out
already
already.
released.
Wild Wheelies is releasing plans. I'm assuming they're charging for them, which is where the real issue is going to come.
Yeah, because they had a discount code. If you
Yeah.
like watch them on Reddit, you get like half off or something for blueprints.
Yeah. Wild Wheelies is selling blueprints to a DIY wheelie
So
training
here's the
machine.
thing, though.
Mhm.
You don't really. I mean, it's like a Kickstarter. So they have like all these videos that they're gonna like sell you these blueprints. To you can go to the scrapyard and create this thing.
Mhm.
What I went through and clicked on their Instagram, what it says is, they have like the Autobot thing, like comment this, and they're just compiling a wait list.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee you're getting. You're not putting any money down. They could just be gathering emails for something, because it did not. What I saw, it did not look like it converted correctly. There's no way you could go to the scrapyard and buy the things that they said you'd be able to buy and create what they created. Like
Not in the US, at
I'm
least.
flagging scam.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so for their sake, because
It
all
was
I
sketch. I
can-
don't believe it.
all I can think about is selling plans for people to DIY a wheelie training machine. Like, it screams liability at every turn.
Yeah, I don't think
I've
it's
seen
real.
people build stuff. Who
I mean,
don't
I
know
think
what they're doing.
they're legitimately gathering people's email addresses, but I find a very hard time believing that would fly. I mean, what it basically looked like is there was like a spring that catapulted your front wheel up, and then it would like the
springboard.
back wheel would like spin on. In my mind, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a barrel. It's just like a rolling something
like a
or other, and then there was
Dino. Yeah.
straps. Like these weren't even
Limit
like
straps.
these are just like recycled toe straps that keep you from flipping backwards.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep.
And some of the straps in the videos were not tight enough that they would keep someone from falling off. That's why I'm just like, red flags everywhere.
Well, yeah, but leave that out. It's like, okay, so people are building this themselves. Where are they getting the bearings for the dyno, like spinning wheel?
Yeah, they
portion?
showed a pile
Where are they
of
getting the springs for the springboard?
They showed a pile of like things, like supplies that supposedly you use this and you make into that. And it was, I don't know the terminology of it, but it was basically like steel 2x2s and a piece of like diamond plate. And they're like, take this and then turn it into this. But they didn't have any rolly things. They didn't have anything to power it. They didn't have any straps. Like, just so many red flags that I just feel like that they probably made all these, took all of these addresses, sold everyone's information back to their insurance companies on bounty to be like, these people are high risk. And then the Instagram's going to disappear.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting to see that fold out. I just envision, because they literally mentioned getting stuff from the scrapyard.
Or it's a dare.
They're going to spec a bearing. Someone's going to use that bearing from a pull apart. It's going to lock up while they're on there.
There's no
So it's not
liability
gonna-
if you get provide blueprint for someone.
If I build a product to spec the way you described, you have liability that your design is like
Unless
safe.
they make everyone sign a waiver.
Waivers don't stand up in court.
Okay,
Not as
Australian
much
court.
as people think they do. The only thing they have going for them is the fact that like international lawsuits are kind of a pain.
And there was even like a video where like some kid was he was doing what he was supposed to do to create the wheelie, but he wasn't using both hands. He was eating like a popsicle or something. And somehow the bike was staying up correctly without him putting energy into it. And it wasn't like taut on the straps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was finding the balance point. But yeah, I'm just envisioning bearing seizes up, the dyno portion, like rolling wheel thing stops, the rear wheel accelerates forward, and you just flip the bike over.
Straps catch you.
They catch the front wheel.
Yeah,
keep
I
it
said
going
it's
backwards.
total scam.
Yeah,
Someone's doing something with that information.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or like I said, I imagine. Did you follow the account on Instagram?
No.
Well, you should.
Okay.
Keep us posted.
Yeah. I will do it right now before I forget.
Okay.
Anything else you want to talk about? Oh, if you want to follow along as we do tune-ups and renovations to the motorhome that has yet to be named, because I feel like it is
Calling it
fitting
a
of name.
toter home for now.
Yeah. Definitely follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, you'll probably post more about the mechanical stuff, and then I'll try to post updates. Currently, I have about 70 followers, I think, and most of them just follow me from my other account.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of gratification in posting, but I should probably keep up with it anyways. I did post today and actually tagged Vintage Days, so go me. I haven't said much on there because we haven't told a lot of people in real life that we did it.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't quite decided on, maybe I won't. Maybe I just won't tell anyone.
I thought for sure that they weren't releasing till tomorrow. But you're saying based on
No, so if you go to the most recent post, it says 1 day ago, but they're, like I said, Australia's like...
Now it says 6 hours ago, or 2 days ago. In
They're
6
just-
hours we went from this.
They're just gathering names for the wait list.
Yeah.
You have to go 2 posts back, and it says, comment this if you want to get on the wait
no,
list.
I see that, but that was 6 days ago. Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll have an update by next podcast.
Like I said, I think they were just getting people on the wait list. They may have just opened the wait list.
I think it qualified as weird news.
It is weird.
It was weird. Okay. Well,
Red flag.
anything else? Is that an episode?
That's it.
Okay. Well, next week? Yes? We're going to stay on a weekly thing?
Sure.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.